You wouldn't guess who's in my DM. Bad gal Riri, Rihanna. She messaged me to tell me to drop this song that just came out today, by the way. Rihanna is listening to my music. Why aren't you yet?
Evolution comes in many forms. Sometimes it moves in a single lane. Other times, it spans across mediums. Zyah Belle looks at evolution as part of her artistry. Inspired, not to be contained. Evolution is simply a product of playing the game and always putting up shots. I hope you all enjoy this episode of B-Scar TV with our very, very special guest, Zyah Belle.
Well, we just go ahead and just roll right into this thing.
Let's do it.
Thank you for being here for an episode of B-Scar TV.
This is exciting.
Yeah, we're juiced up. We're fired up. When we were thinking about just like, when we think about guests and who to bring on, it always goes through some filter of one, like, having a compelling story. Mm-hmm. Two, oftentimes it lends itself to some type of creative endeavor, just given, I think, where we are in the city and in my own kind of personal passions and like conversations that I like to have. And then also like inspiring people too, whether it be their journey, whether it be how they express themselves, how they connect with people. And I think like you check the box on all of those, but specifically on like the inspiration piece, the way that your music, but also your journey, your content, and so the way that you express is very inspiring. So we're gonna get to all of that. But our anchor question for every episode is what's been inspiring you lately?
What has been inspiring me lately? I feel like so much has, as of late, I will say the sun, waking up to the sun has been inspiring me lately. And I think anybody who lives in the Pacific Northwest will get inspired by that. But I think it's been inspiring me because I always wake up in a new energy whenever we're in these seasons where I'm getting into the mode of trying to match my body with the rhythm of nature, of like, I'm winding down as the sun is winding down. I'm up when the sun is up. And that has really been inspiring me to like take advantage of my days, take advantage of the time that I have, and move my body. That has really been inspiring me as well, being able to release, not just through my creative works, but through the exertion of even some of my energy through like physical movement, which I'm sure you understand as an athlete. That has really been inspiring me too.
So,
yeah.
I think the changing of the seasons, you're right, here in the Pacific Northwest in Portland, it hits different, especially like the blooming of the flowers and the changing of the colors.
Yes.
And it like, you can't help but take a pause and just like, damn,
Like
it's beautiful, right?
In our neighborhood, like what?
Yeah.
Just the beautiful lilies and like seeing all, I appreciated being from California, all the natural, just California poppies growing everywhere. And I'm just like, I love it. I have countless photos of plants in my phone from my like morning walks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a yard work person?
I'm not, but I would love to be. I don't have a yard. If I didn't live in a condo, I feel like that's something I would like love to do, like to get into. I could see that in my future self, me being a yard work person.
I've been geeking out.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting deep.
You want to farm, huh?
Oh, I want to farm.
I could see it. Because I could just see it. I could see the overalls. I could see the
what?
I could see it.
The boots.
The
hat.
on the tractor.
Come
like
on.
I could see it.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I think it's inspiring for me too. Like leaning into nature and having a yard. It's funny because like when I was living in my parents' house, my dad is really, both my mom and dad, they're both very conscious of how their yard like looks and spending time with the garden and making sure that the lawn is edged and making sure I'm out there mowing the lawn. And it's funny now to be a grown up and like look at my yard with the same type of pride, or starting to have pride, like, damn, I gotta get my shit to look as good as my parents.
That's so cool though. I mean, it's such a privilege and like an honor to be able to like grow into a space where you can really tend to what you have and what you've been blessed with. I think also like being able to tend to your garden says a lot about being able to kind of like slow down, have enough space in your life to slow down, because I think when you're working so much and your career is blooming and all these other places in your life are blooming, you don't really typically have the time and space to tend to your own literal art,
right.
you know? So that's such a dope space to be in, to be like, I can tend to that and let me actually edge that up. 'Cause, you know, I love that.
Yeah, you know what's interesting that I found it starting to like also kind of manage me emotionally a little bit. Like I think something about like using my hands and like working on something and having like a physical project. I'm working on this little fountain right now, and so I'm like getting the bamboo and trying to figure out the mechanism, moving the stones around. But I find it just, I don't know, maybe it's a mix of that and like the sun and just everything. But when you said, you know, the sun is inspiring you, I think everything else that comes with it is so true.
Yes.
I want to talk about your musical journey.
Okay.
You started in the Bay,
Yep.
Vallejo, down to LA,
Yep.
up here in Portland.
Yep.
You've been all up and down the West Coast. I mean, you just got to get to Seattle and then Vancouver, and then you'll have her every spot.
I ain't gonna move to either one of those places, but I will visit. I will visit. I think Portland's the last stop, but yeah, I have definitely been up and down the West Coast. I was born in Vallejo, and my mom moved us to Sacramento around 10 years old, and so a lot of my like musical start actually was there outside of like the church choir, but like I would say exploring my artistry and my career started there before going to Los Angeles, and then now here being in Portland, Portland was the first time I moved to a place not necessarily for my music,
Right.
but it has impacted my artistry. So yeah.
Yeah. And through those different spots, I mean, you worked with like huge names, right? Like I read some stuff about your collaboration with Snoop Dogg. I read, you know, there's the music that you did with Terrace Martin, with Too Short, with Kanye West. Can you take us through, you know, some of that journey and what that's been like?
Yeah, when I decided to make the move to Los Angeles, I knew that I wanted to come into that city doing more than just like trying to pursue my artistry. I started to get into songwriting more than anything. Like, let me try to sharpen my skills on being able to write for other artists outside of myself. And I actually started working with Mr. Fab from Oakland, who is definitely well known in the city, not just for his music work, but also his community work as well. And he kind of took me under his wing and was like, all right, you want to write? You know, because he's another person that I saw that would be writing with other artists.
Right.
And he took me to Los Angeles to write, introduced me to Too Short. And I started recording music. He ended up sending some of the music that I did to Snoop. And I started writing with him and writing for his daughter at that time. And then ended up getting like my first major placement for a movie, an animated film that Snoop was doing. And honestly, being able to connect with like the OGs, like they just were kind of like, hey, I have a studio. If you want to use it, come here and use it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever. And that was really cool because it definitely allowed me, when I moved to Los Angeles, to feel like I had just a little bit of a foundation to an extent. Like I had somewhere to go. I didn't have to necessarily be like, what studio should I record at? Because I knew I could just pull up to Shorts. Like, and anytime he works with me, he's like, yo, I got a compilation. You recorded a demo in here last month. I really liked it. I'm like, okay, I want to put it out here. I'm gonna slide you something. I'm like, okay, you know. So it was really dope. Shout out to Mr. Fab because he definitely did give me a lot of encouragement and showed me that there were other pathways for my artistry to just be able to like work and create without maybe necessarily my brand being in mind, and just explore. And that definitely put me in different rooms to be able to work with different folks. And a lot of what I've been able to accomplish in this industry has been by way of a lot of the beautiful relationships that I've been able to make, and people seeing a space for me, an opportunity, and being like, I feel like you're a good fit for this. So yeah, that's how I've been able to work with folks like him and be in Sunday service and things like that.
Yeah. So with the relationship with Mr. Fab and then Snoop and Too Short, like legends in the music game, what did you learn from them? Like, and what did you take away on how you kind of approach or your perspective on the music game? How did it shift?
I will say from Short, I learned to treat this like a career, like treat this with just as much discipline and care as you would a 9-to-5. It's very easy for people to be disciplined within their 9-to-5s because they have to work within the constructs of that 9-to-5 or they'll be fired. But when people have to go after their passions, a lot of times they're not applying that same pressure or discipline because it's up to you. Who gonna fire you for your own stuff? But I would literally see Short like clock in. Like he literally, like he'll say it himself, he doesn't like working late. He's not one of those rappers that you see with all these rappers in the studio and working till 1, 2 in the morning. He comes in like a job. He comes in 8, 9 a.m., leaves the studio at 6 o'clock. He's done. I'm done. What do I got to do today? Load it up. Shout out to Zach, my homie Zach, that still pretty much engineers all my music. That's Short's engineer. And he'll tell Zach, load it up. We doing this, this, and this today. And he will just get it done. All right, I'm done for today. All right, I'm out. And I learned like how much you get done with having that same type of discipline. Treat your career just as seriously as you would treat that 9-to-5 that you're clocking into. Like, don't lose that structure. And with Snoop, I definitely learned to explore your creative. I definitely learned the same with Ye of like, explore your creative. Don't pigeonhole yourself into one thing. Like do that thing, which I never do. I never pigeonhole myself into anything. I do what I want to do creatively, and I try things out. And it's blessed me to be able to explore different avenues of creative outside of just my personal artistry.
Yeah. I think Snoop, both Kanye and Snoop, but Snoop in particular, the amount of different projects that he's taken on.
Man.
That like outside of music, like the amount of times that you just see Snoop on some random commercial acting or some product that has his name on it.
You like,
it's like, what, bro? You're into it. Is this a wine? Like, what is this?
It's so dope because I feel like it also encouraged me to be my authentic self in the sense of like how I show up, because you know his personality and what he portrays himself to be is Snoop. That's Unc. Like that's who he is. Yeah. He's never had to like water down or become something else outside of who he is. People want him on their thing. And that was really cool to see, because it definitely encouraged me to be like, you know, step into your own authenticity and whatever it is that you do.
Yeah, definitely. And also like what I've learned from him is like, you can't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to try shit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a lot of Snoop's projects that, you know, that he started that aren't still going today. You know, and even too, to see the amount of music that he's still making. Like I had one night that I was just randomly like, I wonder what Snoop's been up to, and was going through his discography and the amount of albums that he's dropped over the last 5 years that like, I ain't heard about, but he's still creating, he's still expressing, and it's like, damn, like it's inspiring.
Yeah,
because it's that with everything else too.
Yep, definitely inspiring. It for sure makes you think like, okay, for one, I don't know if I'll have that same output, but
right.
I do see that like you have the capability to touch so many things. That is what you want to do. You can be that consistent. So him and, Short's definitely one of those people too. 40 is for sure one of those folks too that they release a project at least almost every year. They released an album or some sort of compilation at least every year, every other year.
I wonder what their like fan base looks like now too. Like I gotta imagine those are the loyal Snoop fans who are tapped in on every album.
Absolutely.
Loyal E40 fans.
Yeah. And then you have the people that of course are like, oh, these are legends, so we maybe consume what feels nostalgic to us.
Right.
But we still, hey, we respect, we love what you do type of thing too.
Yeah. And then I'm sure I wonder, like, is Snoop touring?
Right now, he's not. But he's releasing music. Like, he just released a project like a month or two ago.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire. Yeah, I think, the creative journey in itself is just so unique. And I think that's like the hardest part is to continue to like put shots up, put shots on goal, because with that, like, you're not going to make every shot, right? And creatively, like the ones that you make also are like the feedback loop of the made shots are so long that like you might not know if that project will be a make for another year or two.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like ball where you just shoot the shot like, oh yeah, I hit that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm recording this. Okay, now I'm rolling it out, and then from like inception to completion, it could be a year, it could be two, it could be three. Like who knows?
It could be even longer, as we see with TikTok and the virality of like old school songs coming back around and things like that. Like you never know.
You really have to have faith in, like, I heard, I have a saying, I think that motion leads to more motion. And saying yes to certain projects and like just trying shit is really important, because then that will be the stepping stone to that thing that you didn't even know you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
So like fits perfect for you. But just continuing to stir motion in the face of the adversity that is like, not everything's gonna be a make. There's gonna be failures.
Yeah.
You might not know if, this is a success for another few years.
Still gotta put it up though.
And then you look at these legends who have like been doing it for a long time and things, it's powerful.
Yeah.
For you, in your own like personal evolution of as an artist, I've been seeing you were on the Radar. You were on Phone Booth, which I wasn't familiar with Phone Booth until I was doing my research. You visited Spotify, Apple Music. It's like shit is popping right now. Like, can you talk us through like where you're at personally in your musical journey?
I'm in a very interesting space in my musical journey because artistry is one of those things that like, I think right now because virality feels so accessible that people think that the time that it takes to get to certain spaces and to get in certain rooms can be so super quick.
Yeah.
But it does take a good amount of time and years to really get to the partner visits and get to these platforms. And, I think about artists like Victoria Monet, who have been in the industry for, 10 plus years, and is truly just now really getting the recognition that she deserves. That it feels interesting to be in this space, because in my mind, I'm like, well, I've been doing this for a very long time. And you kind of get to a point where I'm at where it's literally that corny photo that you see of the guy chiseling away and he's getting tired and it's right there. And these are the moments for me where I'm actually sometimes the most emotionally exhausted and feeling like, oh my God, I've been doing this for so long. But then so much is happening and in a natural progression that I'm also very grateful for it. So it's like, you end up getting that second wind. I'm kind of in that space of like in that second wind of confidence and perseverance and consistency, because I'm like, no, like I can feel that I'm close. I'm closer than I've ever been in what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. Yeah. So it's been beautiful. It's been a hell of a journey. It's been annoying and ugly and disappointing, but also it's like, there's really nothing else that I want to do more.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense for me to do anything. Like I couldn't imagine myself being like, I quit. I couldn't imagine quitting right now.
Yeah. I like that metaphor of a second wind.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's so real. How do you get that second wind? Have you found, like, is it seasonal? Like, you know, is it like a certain time of the year when the sun comes out? Okay.
I wish.
You
know, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's perseverance. It's also my community. Okay. My community has seen me go through so much within my artistry, within my personal life. It's my team, like my friendship team, my community team, and even now, even having like label support and having a team of folks who truly believe in you and who are trying to match your work ethic. Because I'm a firm believer that as an artist, as a creative, you should be outworking everybody on your team at every point in time. There's no reason why your label should be working harder than you, why your manager should be working harder than you. But you should be working so hard that they're convicted to match your energy. And I think it's been now, I'm in a season where things are aligning in that. I've experienced seasons where I'm out working and people ain't really trying to, and it's just been me and my community. We getting it out the mud, you feel me? My friends is shooting stuff for me for free at a crazy discount, and we getting it how we live. Who did this rollout? Us. Ain't no marketing team, it's a marketing team of us, you know? And I think it's just like a constant chiseling away, even when you don't got it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when I try to be like, what would Beyonce do? You feel me? Because I don't always got it. It's not gonna always feel good and affirming. I recently, went through that experience of like, I shot all these visuals for an EP that's getting ready to come out this year. I shot these visuals almost 2 years ago. When I shot these visuals, I was not in the headspace to even want to be on camera. Didn't even care to be on camera, but that's what we got to do today. We're shooting today. We're getting this creative out. So show up. These are the times in your career where like, you don't feel like showing up, but you said this is what you wanted to do, so clock in. I think it's clocking in and day out. And eventually it aligns. It sometimes doesn't even make sense what I'm doing. Like I'll be like, what am I doing? Like, why am I still doing this? Like, damn. But I think it's just, it's a combination of that consistency, the perseverance, being blessed enough to have a community that has kept me when I did not feel like keeping myself. My faith, and also now being blessed to have a team where all of us kind of work together for this thing to be able to flourish in where it's at now. Yeah.
So for these moments that have happened in, I don't want to call it like mainstream media, like the appearances on Radar and Phone Booth and stuff, like in the context of your team and you, like how do you make those things happen? Like that seems like it could be a grind in itself to like make sure you're making the contacts and like being able to like be in that space. How does that work with you and your team? It's
a very multifaceted thing, because the thing about the music industry, it is partly business in the sense that maybe if you have PR, you have label support, it is the business aspect of that team reaching out on your behalf and saying, hey, we have this artist, we think she would be great for your platform, we would love to have her in that space, whatever. But then it's also a combination of even the work that I've put in prior to the team, of people seeing my journey, and a lot of times people reaching out to me where I've been asked for years, like, do you have PR? Do you have an agent? How are you getting these shows? How are you getting these tours? my most recent tour that I went on was the first time I was ever pitched for a tour. My first 2 tours were people who knew me and enjoyed my artistry and said, we want to have you. And so it's like, it's the social part of the industry that meets the business part of the industry. You have to honestly wear multiple hats. Everybody got to be doing their thing, from your label to your manager to you making sure that you did nurture said relationships, or, you know, maybe you did and you didn't know that it would form into an opportunity later, but it does, you know. It's been such a divine thing to experience, that some of these things that people see me doing publicly have come by way of relationships, people who have known me for years, or I do have now label support and PR where, hey, my PR reached out and say, hey, we think she should be on the red carpet at the Billboard Women in Music. Can we get her there? To those things, you know. So I've been blessed by a multitude of things where you just kind of gotta set your markers on multiple things. You can't just invest in one side of this industry.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, and the investing of your time, the way that it compounds like, throughout your life is just an interesting way, because nobody truly tells you like exactly how much time you put in and what the like output of that, what the return on that time put in will be, and when it will come, you know. But it's like, especially now as we're, you know, kind of coming into our own from a professional standpoint, and it's just from the amount of time that like our peers have now been in their career. It's like not quite, when people give you the advice, like build relationships, so I always think of like, okay, I got to find this executive who's at the top of the hierarchy and nurture this relationship, blah, blah, blah. But it's like now we're getting at a point where it's the relationship that we have had and have built with our peers.
Absolutely.
Because we're all kind of stepping up into our own. And do you have that relationship that you made from a show when that person was maybe just a PA on set?
Yeah.
And you know, you like chopped it up, dapped it up, followed each other on IG, and now that's a relationship.
Yep.
And now boom, they run in the studio. Zyah, what's up?
It really has been that. It's been such a beautiful progression. I think that's like what Issa Rae was talking about in an interview, where she said you have to network across. Like, don't worry so much about networking up. You have to network across. Like, people will see certain opportunity and think like, oh my God, like you must have talked to this person. Right. And it's like, actually, no. I had met the homegirl at this show that I had went to back in Hollywood, and she ended up auditioning for this thing, and she felt like I would be good for it too. So she gave me the recommendation. I showed up, and it was for Kanye. That is literally like that. Or I was at an audition for Kalela, and I'm just in the waiting room, and I meet a girl and we vibe. I'm like, yo, I love your energy. You're so dope. We connect. End up reconnecting because she's the roommate of a producer I started working with, and then me and her have been friends ever since, and she's touring with Sir, and we both sang in Sunday service together. Like, you just kind of, it really does pay to be a kind person, I think. When people talk about relationships, I love the idea of it, but then I'm also like, don't invest so much in relationships from a place of like, what can you do for me? What can I do from you? From just a transactional space. Like, just be a kind person, and people remember that kindness. And that's what will hold you from meeting them in 2017. And then in 2023, you get blessed with something because they like, oh yeah, I met them a while ago, and they do that. Let me hit them up, because I'm gonna more than likely hit up my homie that I mess with, even if they're not as qualified as homeboy. I'm gonna hit up my homie, because that's just also how we're in that space with our peers of like, we wanna put each other on. Yeah. So it's been a lot of power in being able to invest in the spaces that bring you true community and fill your heart in those moments, not necessarily that might fill your pockets in that moment.
Yeah. God, I feel like that whole build relationships thing has been just totally misrepresented, at least to me. Like, as far as like what that means and like not how to do it, you know what I mean? It's like, be a good person and be accessible and follow up and these things. But I don't know, I'm just like, I'm in a place where what they used to tell us in the league is like, whatever city you play in, whatever industry you might be interested in, make sure you go and meet the top level executives at all those different places, because you can get your foot in that door and like have those conversations. And I think that was like important. That's an important message for us. But I think what even maybe is just as important, if not more important, is like with those industries, like meet your peers who are in those spaces, who are like building a profession in those spaces.
Yes.
They don't necessarily have to be the top of the food chain. No, that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's interesting because in the career of a professional athlete, when you are at that point, you are at the top of your food chain.
Right.
And so it's like networking across is actually like going to a top level executive, maybe, you know what I mean? Just like from a career standpoint.
Yeah.
But then when we're done playing, you now starting out like not at the bottom, but it's an interesting just way, at least that it's been presented to me.
Yeah. I always find though, what people forget is like networking with that executive is meeting so many people constantly.
Yeah.
Executives are meeting people constantly. They're meeting important people all the time. But like that showrunner, that PA, that assistant, if they are passionate about you, they will talk that executive's or that director's ear off about you, because they also now have something to prove too. Yeah. Like they're gonna apply more pressure than the executive who just met somebody else probably 5 minutes before you or after you.
Right.
I think about those relationships a lot of times are more powerful because you experience people who are a little bit still more passionate and in touch with like humanity. Not to say that folks at CEO or executive levels aren't, but I think they're a little bit more black and white because they have so much that they're dealing with that they look to the people that are working alongside them and under them to tell them what's next.
Yeah, right.
To tell them, hey, this is who you need to pay attention to, because they don't really be tapped in when you get to a certain level.
Yeah, no, that's real. And the fact that those relationships that you build, it's not to they're not gonna bear fruit right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, it could be 2 years, could be 3, could be 5, could be 10.
Yep. After I knew that within my relationship that we were getting to the point of like marriage and things like that, I definitely started to pay a lot of attention to like married men that were like happily married and how they were. And they were men that had hobbies.
Not interesting.
They were men that knew how to like do a thing outside of their work. So they were men that like enjoyed working around the house or enjoyed work. Like Vic's dad knows how to build motorbikes. Why? I don't know, but he knows how to like build motorbikes. He knows how to build a bike, like just go and get parts, and he enjoys doing that. Even beyond marriage, like men who really enjoy their lives are typically men who have like hobbies. Yeah. And aren't just only career and finance focused. Things that are like allowing them to put the phone down or like be to their own devices. I'm like, those are normally my favorite type of humans though.
In your hobby, if it's being purpose driven, like when you put all the ingredients together, the purpose was to make this delicious piece of bread. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think there's something in our nature that like we thrive on that. On like having a project and like making it happen, especially when it's like somewhat physical with it, but it's even just more mental too. You know what I mean? It's just like, cause then when you get it done, there's something that you get from like, oh yeah.
I don't want to be the matriarch of my family. I grew up around nothing but matriarchs, the women that take on everything and they got it. Nope, I don't want that. I know that a lot of that was the result of the women in my family not having men to share the load with. So I remember being like defensive about certain things and having to be like, oh, you know what it is that I don't care to be the matriarch. And I need you, actually in certain areas, I want you to lead. I know it might seem like, I think to somebody who doesn't know me, they might be like, oh, she probably likes to be the person in control. No, you actually could go ahead and do that. You could do that. I lead in my career and in so many other places in my life. Please lead. 25. Please do your thing, So I learned that a lot of like ways that I would react to things that even would cause arguments or whatever, or even same with him, would probably be internalized concerns of whatever, maybe our relationship becoming this or whatever. So we do a great job of like, we discuss everything. We both offer each other enough space to grow and be like, okay, I don't know where you finna end up right now, but I'm gonna let you.
And the love is so at the core of who they are.
Exactly.
That won't change.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything else can change.
To the core. But I'm like, hey, if you wanna explore a new career, if you wanna do the, okay.
21 questions hits different.
Listen, child, I was cracking up because I just saw a trend of somebody doing that, and then he was like, what he say? Because if I was locked up for a quarter century, child.
Like, count on you to support me mentally.
Child, what did you do to get in there? And did you set us up to be good while you in there? Because if you in there for a quarter century, but now I gotta, yeah, because if you in there for a quarter century, I need details, you know, but then now I'm struggling and I gotta figure it out for the family, and you in there for a quarter century and you want me to support you mentally?
Yeah.
But
no,
I don't know about that, 50. If life happens to you, can you be there? I think that'd be my only thing about the 21 questions is I'm like, what did you do to get in there for 25 years? Was I in on it? Did I know about it? Because if I was in on it, I've probably prepared myself for the consequences that, hey, he might go down for 25 years for this. But if I find out now, then now technically you've kind of broken your vows, because
a trade, that's a different thing.
that's different. But I'm like, things like that is something that has been very powerful to think about when you think about taking vows. And you're like, oh, okay, I have to think about the level of commitment, the level of just how deep and meaningful that is to take. Is that something that you could do in sickness, in health, and all those things? And I think that it's been the craziest idea to ask myself that question. And I had to go through went through a whole thing with my therapist of literally even working through, what does that look like? What does it look like to trust another human being? And then when you bring trauma into it, for myself, I didn't grow up with my father. My father was my first heartbreak. So experiencing trauma, what does it look like to be able to trust a man?
Yeah.
And when most of your hurt, or the most times in your life you've experienced feeling unsafe, has been at the hands of a man. But what the beautiful thing about love is for me is like, love has never hurt anybody, only people have hurt people. So if I'm hurt, it's because the human you did that. Love didn't hurt me. So I can never fail by taking a chance on love. I can possibly experience hurt by taking a chance on you as a human. And if that happens, well, it's just what happens. But I would never give up on love. And I think people get so caught up in like the human that gives the love that they're like, I'm scared to love. And I'm like, I'm not scared to love at all. Love has never hurt me. It's been the human that I was looking to receive the love from. And also understanding like, I'm gonna be okay though. Will it hurt? But I will be okay. If I'm willing, I think when you're accepting vows, you're accepting the best and worst case scenario. And I know that in the midst of everything, I'm gonna be all right. You gotta really be willing to be like, you know, this is what I wanna do. And I believe you, I trust you. I've seen some of the ugliest things that you've had to go through. And I fuck with you. So I'm gonna do this.
I saw on IG, it came off either Twix's page or your page when he did his interview.
Yeah, the street interview.
Yeah, and he asked you, like, what does Portland need more of? And your response was optimistic transplants, which I thought was a hell of a response. And the way that you broke it down too, as far as like people who move here and then complain about the place, but don't take the time to like invest and spend time and really see the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious, we're here in Portland, we're recording, this is a Portland-based show. What is the beauty that you see in Portland?
You know, I think there's so much power actually in the tight-knit community that especially the Black community in Portland has had to create out of its adversity and out of its segregation, that I feel like I've seen a lot of power in the Black community here, specifically speaking like to the North and Northeast, that at least that I've been able to witness, that I think is really dope, because I think people typically romanticize, of course, what's happening in other cities because there is more Black folks there, more people of color there, that they end up thinking like there has to be more of a Black community. People often say that, like, oh, I wish there was more of a Black community here, which I think, though, what people want to say is like, I just wish there were more Black people. But you can often find that in these metropolitan cities where there are more people of color, that there might not necessarily be as much community though, but there might be more people who look like you there. I will say, coming here to Portland, there has been such a power in the way that people try to enrich their communities and actually take pride in it. And I love that so much. I think it's been dope to experience like the down home nature of it all. And I think maybe I'm a little bit more, I think maybe I have more of a heart of that because I grew up in a small city, like, and being from a city that's even smaller than Portland, I love the idea of being able to walk down the street and that's my, you know, mother-in-law's house right here, and my sister is 5 minutes up the street, and my best friend is 10 minutes away. The idea of even accessibility to community or your friends or whatever, I think is such a beautiful thing that Portland has. And it makes you feel even convicted to invest, invest in it. Because I think it's crazy to come here as a person of color, complain that there's not as many people of color, but then not do anything impactful as a person of color here. Like, well, what are you doing to enrich the space? What are you doing to create more opportunity or more space for, you know, Black folks and people of color to show up? And so I feel like Portland has been such a inspirational place for me. And I've also seen and experienced some of the most successful entrepreneurs, business owners of color here than at least what I've been able to see when I've been in other spaces. I feel like because the community is smaller and people do typically network across a lot more, especially in this city, you know a person who is the head of da-da-da here and who has a small business on Alberta here, and who, I didn't really have that in LA, but also LA's far more spread out. So it makes it harder to feel like you have community, although you might see more people around you that look like you. You might not necessarily feel that community. And I will say, being here in Portland, I've felt that. Regardless of the amount of Black folks here, I've still been able to feel that. But I've also went out and tried to find these spaces and become acquainted with people who are in that community. So yeah, I've had a very enriched experience here. And I think it's a superpower that Portland has that I don't even know if they know that they have it. I think sometimes people who are from here can romanticize living in larger metropolitan cities, that they don't realize that there is so much that people have accessibility to here.
And the beauty of being a small town, but not a small town.
Right.
Like we're I don't know, we're like big city, small town, somewhere in the middle of that. And to be able to walk on any street and see somebody that you know. And be able to recognize them and know them by name or whatever, and, you know, shake hands and give hugs. I think, you know, that doesn't happen in LA. It doesn't happen all the time in New York. And I think when people talk about like not having as much exposure to the Black community or like wanting more Black people here, I think you're right. Like, Black community is here. Although the spaces, it's like we're a blank canvas in the way where the amount of Black communal spaces that are here, it doesn't equate to Houston. It doesn't equate to New York. It doesn't equate to LA. There's less of us, so then there's less of those spaces, which is a beautiful opportunity
to create
that space.
Absolutely. And I think I approach Portland with the grace of its ugly past as well. I give the city grace and the people in it, the Black people impacted by the history of the city, grace. Because they're also kind of coming in at a deficit of like having experienced segregation a lot longer than its neighboring cities, having experienced redlining and racism, and not even as much of an industry here to have as many Black folks that were deciding to even come up here. I mean, from what I know, like the state of Oregon itself has not even ever had like a Black like governor. So it's like we don't necessarily have the foundational history of having droves of Black people that came here, like a Bay Area, that had more of an industrial rise of oil and all these different things that were causing more Black people to move there too. I think Portland also, I give it its grace and its history in understanding that the Black people that are here, that are from here, that have come here from the South as well and have had roots here for years, were doing the best with what they could.
Yeah.
And they're doing their best to fight back against it. Like, it's only so much that they could do. No, this is not a Chicago. No, this is not a Detroit. But also think about the industries and the things that brought Black folks there, and why there are so many Black folks in these cities. It has to do with their history.
That's right.
So I give Portland its grace in that. And I think if more people came here and said, you know, because now they're here for these industries of marketing, and they're here for these industries of sportswear that are bringing more people of color here now, okay, well, invest while you're here. If this is where you lay your head at, do something while you're here to give back. Don't just collect your check and complain.
Do something.
Do something.
Yeah, I feel right. When Itai and I were talking about this conversation and planning out the show, both of us resonated around the way that you curate your content and the way that you express yourself across social media. And Ty has something where like there's kind of the juxtaposition of like some artists maybe in the past have kind of remained the mystery versus some artists, you know, are accessible to their fans, to the followers, to their friends, whatever you want to call them, right? And it seems that you've played this really unique role of really connecting with your people, like through your own lived experience. It's when I hear, like when I watch your reels or see your story and the way that you talking to us, it's like you're really talking to us.
Yeah.
You know, so I commend you for that, but also would love to know kind of how you think about it as an artist and like from a maybe even strategic standpoint.
Yeah, I think for one, I would love to be one of those artists that are like a mystery, but I've never even related to those types of people or archetypes of artists ever, really. And I think that when it comes down to the type of artist I am, I'm just reflective of the generation that I grew up in. And I think that if artistry and music was still within that same space of how it was and the way that they would put artists through artist development and nurture them, and you got to see artists in a curated way. Like if the music industry was still like that, I probably would still just present like that. And I think there are certain artists who still do. They only show up on their social media in a very like curated way.
Yeah.
But for me, I've always interacted with social media for one as like my television show. This is my network. This is my network. You know what I mean? And so, hey, tap in, turn on your favorite show. This is what's going on today. Yeah. And I feel like I grew up in a day and age that was more personable. I grew up in the MySpace era. I had a Twitter account since Twitter was Twitter, So I've always experienced this like interpersonal relationship with my fans, and it's also hard to not show up this way when so many of them literally have been with me from the start and seen when I was doing covers on YouTube and stuff like that. So I enjoy being that way online because I think for one, it's important for me to give people context into who I am as an artist and a person. And it's fun. I think it's fun. And it's so funny because now you see more artists being encouraged to do that, but then they've been so comfortable in only showing up in a curated way that sometimes artists feel very awkward about being in front of the camera or speaking candidly. But I also do attribute it to the fact that I'm a theater kid. You know, I'm not shy to be on camera or to publicly speak. So I've never had the luxury of being like the mysterious, super socially awkward artist. Like, I'm just not that. Like,
Have you acted before?
yes. Yes. It's definitely something I would love to get back into, but not something I've like invested in my adult years. Yeah.
I could see it.
I could sue. I could sue. I need to start filming doing some self tapes.
Was it true that you were Dorothy on Wizard of Oz?
I was. That was my first role ever.
Role.
Yes. Was Dorothy and the Wiz.
If you were to play a dream role, like the one, like if they cast you right now,
Oh.
kill it, what would that role be?
Shoot, I don't even know. I don't know, because I think what I love about theater is how expansive it is and how like you have to get, it would have to be something that really challenged me, and I would love for it to be in anything Ryan Coogler wrote. Like anything that he wrote.
Yeah.
But any role, I honestly would love to be in something that is probably completely opposite of my personality.
Yeah.
Because I think that's, you know, that's kind of easier to do the typecasted type of role.
Play a character.
Yeah, I would much rather be able to play a character for sure.
Yeah. No, that was an off the cuff question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for me it'd be like a Herman Boone type, like Remember the Titans, you know, like that coach.
Yeah. I could see that actually. Yep.
Yeah. What's next for you?
What's next?
What we got coming down the pike here?
New music releasing this summer.
Yeah.
EP releasing this summer. Possible tour this summer. Well, kind of into the fall. A lot of beautiful things that have been cooking and honestly done, ready to be served, you know, is finally going to be presented out into the world. So I'm really excited about this summer being able to share with people what I've been working on for the past couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's been incredible hearing about your story and your journey in depth. Obviously we go back a few years now, but I feel like oftentimes, you know, like sitting in this having conversation is something that is few and far between.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being here and the way that you've continued to put the time in on your craft and how you continue to experiment with that craft creatively, you know, across DJing, but then continuing to show up in your artistry and dropping EPs and music. It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you being here and serving some of that inspiration to me and the team and everybody who's listening. So
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go, y'all. Another episode of B-Scar TV. Peace.
Leave us a review. Drop a comment. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Who do you want to hear from? We would love to hear from you.